Once again, we are awaiting a live press conference from the White House with regard to all things surrounding the shooting that took place down in Winder, Georgia. Word of this happening earlier this morning. Here's what we know thus far, and I got to be honest with you, the details are somewhat sketchy. At least 4 people now confirmed dead with regard to that shooting. We know that a lone gunman actually, to our understanding, entered the school, and that's when the shooting actually took place. At least 30 others said to be injured. We do know that the gunman has been taken into custody. It appears that the police are currently holding a press conference. We'll take you to that. And when that happens, or am I being told this is what aired earlier? Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll take you to what actually aired earlier with regard to the press conference surrounding police as we await an official report press conference from the White House. Let's take a listen in.
Information as far as injuries, but we have multiple injuries. This is a very, very fluid investigation. It's very early. And I have asked the assistance of the GBI and the agencies here behind me today, and there are multiple agencies that responded this morning to help us and help the sheriff's office. We do have a suspect in custody, and we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right. Again, I've asked the GBI to help us, the sheriff's office, to help us along with this. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I'm not going to answer questions after this is over with. But I wanted to give you the respect and our community respect to let them know what was going on initially. We're in the process of reunifying our students with their parents. Obviously, that's chaotic, but we want to be respectful of them and their privacy as well. I want to thank the state, the federal agencies, the local agencies that showed up today, as you can see, the multiple EMS and fire from other agencies that responded today. Again, I ask that you lift up Barrow County schools, lift up Apalachee, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened. But I wanted to give you a statement. It is our hope, in conjunction with these people behind us, that we can give you another statement around 4 o'clock, because I know you have to go back on the air. That is my hope. But I wanted to be fluid with you all, understanding that it's fluid as well with this investigation. I appreciate you being patient with us. Again, it's very active and is ever developing. Every minute is developing on what we're finding. So we're going to have releases from other schools. Again, we ask that you be patient with us. Please be patient with us. And hopefully I can give you more information or more better information, as you will, if you will, this afternoon. Thank you all for coming out here. We'll be back shortly, okay?
Sheriff, it's been widely reported that people are dead. Is that true?
I'm not releasing any information. We have multiple injuries.
Can you say if the person in custody is an adult or a juvenile?
I'm not releasing any information. Guys, I'm not going to answer any more questions. It's time, okay? Thank you.
So that's the very latest information.
That press conference taking place just about an hour ago. That was a live feed from our sister station, Fox Now, to which we just replayed on air right here on the Live Zone. As you heard the gentleman state, this is going to be taking place, this being the next press conference, in just about 2 hours or so. We should get more information. As I stated before, the details remain quite sketchy. Since then, multiple agencies now reporting that at least 4 people have actually died as a result of this school shooting. At least 30 people said to be injured. Let's put up a live shot, if you will, of the White House, where we are expecting any minute now a White House press briefing. We were told that that should get underway beginning at 2 o'clock. Obviously, we are 6 minutes past all of this, but yet again, another tragedy within America, in which we are dealing with gun violence inside our schools. We had an official on earlier stating that perhaps it may be best to install metal detectors. Perhaps it may be best to have a serious conversation with regard to making sure that this does not happen again. Obviously, we will continue to monitor the White House press briefing room where, as I stated, any minute now we are expecting to hear from the White House. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
That Students were immediately able to text their parents, text each other when this was all going down as to what was happening in that moment. Because as Brittany was reporting, a lot of kids didn't understand. They thinking it was a drill, thinking it wasn't real, when they soon realized it very much was a real school shooting.
And that's where we've gotten some of the clearest reporting of what might have happened at that school today, short of the official information from the Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith, who held a news conference not too long ago calling what happened there on campus today an evil thing, confirming there are multiple injuries, one of which was transported by Life Flight helicopter to Grady Memorial Hospital, where our Angelique Proctor is on the scene and saw GBI agents rushing into the hospital to try to information gather from a victim who is there at the hospital. There you see the agents there on the ground at Grady entering the building there, and that they have a suspect in custody, that obviously that this was a rapidly evolving situation this morning when it broke out just after 10 o'clock, where you had local, state, and federal agencies swarming that campus really within a matter of minutes. And earlier in the afternoon, Christine, I referenced a Facebook post from back in 2022 from school resource officers up in Barrow County at this very high school going through a drill to prepare for an eventuality exactly like this, to respond to a shooting, God forbid, when and if it happened, and today it did.
And how many times do we cover stories like that? It seems mundane, right, to say that these departments are doing these drills, and now we see today how necessary those drills and practice sessions are. Let's go out live to our Eric Perry, who is also on the ground, who is speaking to someone here to hopefully give us some more information on what happened today. Eric?
Yeah, Christine, Tom, we've been following the parents as they've come down. We've also seen more flooding coming in from different law enforcement agencies. Of course, my perspective is outside, but I'm here with Camille. Camille, you were inside the school. Walk us through, first of all, thank you for here.
Well, I was sitting in my classroom, and he came up to my door, or the door to our classroom. Classmate got up. She went to open the door, but she didn't, because she saw that he had a gun. She announced it. As soon as she announced it, he started firing. We all went into the corner. Yeah, we just kind of heard a lot of gunshots. Then we heard a lot of, and then maybe 3 minutes later, we heard police running in. And then as soon as we went out, it was flooded with police officers and a lot of deputies.
So I want to be clear. You saw the gunman come to your classroom door?
Yes, sir. He was my classmate.
What is going through your mind? This isn't every ordinary day. You're seeing the gun. Just walk us through that, because to a lot of people watching, you're young.
Yeah.
You should not have to deal with that. Walk us through this if you can.
I mean, I just kind of got up, was getting ready. I mean, I never, a lot of people say that it's something that you never really think is going to happen. It's not something that goes through your mind in the morning, and it's really not something that goes through your mind in the morning. As soon as I got to school, I was excited. I really wanted to be at school that day. And, it was just complete, bust, because I was hoping for a good day, and it just turned into a terrible one for families and everyone.
How many gunshots do you remember hearing, if you can even remember how many?
At our door, I'm going to say 4. I remember hearing 4. And then he went to the other classroom next to ours, and I'm pretty sure I heard 6, 8 gunshots. And then I'm pretty sure he moved on to another hall because I heard more gunshots.
Have you processed this? I don't know if you have. This has just happened. How are you even processing this?
I don't know. I'm kind of in shock. I was in a lot of shock because I never really thought it would just happen to my school. I know it happens to others, but it just kind of was I didn't really think it was going to happen to my school. It's definitely something hard to process, especially if you know some of those kids. And I mean, it's only the second month of school, so it's really very shocking.
That you can through, from a parent's perspective, getting all of this, what is even going through your mind as you're processing this?
My wife's a teacher. She was teaching at the elementary school next door, and I got a text that we had an active shooter situation. And of course, your first thought is my life, and then you're thinking about the other students and other parents, and are they safe? So at that point in time, I just was praying that God would protect my child, the other children. It's just a sad day, but it's a parent's worst nightmare. And again, you hear the cliches about you never thought it would happen in your area, and that's true. But it is a sad day, and we want to make sure that we're praying and supporting those families that have had tragedy into their homes today.
I know you guys have been out here all throughout the morning. You've had a very rough morning. As we leave, describe this school and describe this community. I mean, this does not even come front of mind to a lot of people that are happening here. Describe this community for us.
I have a lot of really nice. I love all of my teachers. They're definitely someone I could go to if I needed to talk. My coaches are like that too. I mean, it's small. It's not, everyone kind of sometimes gets along with everybody. Everyone has fights, sometimes. But I feel like the school is a good place to go, and I feel like just that happening kind of separates everybody, and everybody wants to be isolated and not really talk about it. So I feel like this is going to be kind of a hard thing to get through for the whole school.
Absolutely. Camille, thank you so much. You've had a very long morning, and we're praying for you, and we're praying for you as well, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So you guys, that was a live interview that you were listening to with Camille. She says that the gunman came to her door. They did not let that gunman in. She describes hearing 4 to 5 shots. Outside of that, the magnitude of what you just listened to. She is 15, 16 years old, inside, knew that person, said he was the classmate, saw the gun, heard the gunshots, did not let them inside of that particular classroom. Imagine these people first thing in the morning, they are huddled up. I'm just getting chills just re-describing what you heard just there. And then they heard to go to a classroom next door where they heard even more gunshots, and then coming to find out all of this tragedy that happened here. So there's still a lot of activity and a lot of emotions. Again, this is someone who is young. This is our next generation, and this is something that they are dealing with. Christine, Tom, tossing it back to you guys right now.
Wow.
And we do want to thank our Fox 5 Atlanta team for their continuing coverage as we continue to follow the breaking news after we understand there were multiple injuries after a high school shooting there at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. You're taking a live look outside the high school right there as there continues to remain an incredibly heavy law enforcement presence right there. We do understand that the suspect is now in custody. That's according to a very short briefing by law enforcement agents a short time ago. So we do know that the suspect currently is in custody. And in fact, from our Fox 5 Atlanta coverage, we were hearing that live interview as the reporter was speaking with a high school student saying that she knows the gunman, and they were terrified as they barricaded themselves inside their classrooms. We also want to let you know that at 4 p.m. Eastern time, we are expecting authorities to give a second update on this shooting, as they are calling this a very fluid investigation, not providing many details during their first briefing, as they say they are being very careful in order to make sure that all the information they provide is accurate. So at this point in time, we do know that multiple people were injured in this shooting. We know that the suspect is in custody, and beyond that, we are still waiting to hear a lot of answers to the questions many of us are having. Who is the suspect? Was the suspect a student? We did hear from someone saying that the suspect was in fact a student. Authorities have not yet confirmed that. We also don't know what the motive was of the suspected gunman. We do not know the conditions of those injured, and we are waiting for that information as well. We are continuing to follow this breaking news after this 2-minute break. Stay with us.
All right, once again, fascinating testimony from one of the eyewitnesses that actually bear witness to what took place earlier today in Winder, Georgia at a high school. We are once again awaiting a press conference from the White House to address this latest mass shooting within a high school. Earlier today, I got a chance to speak with a former detective, Mr. Dean Golomis, with regard to what took place. Joining us now to discuss all things surrounding that is former detective Dean Golomis back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. I should also make mention you are founder of Global Security and Investigative Services. Sir, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, Guy.
I wish it happened to be under better circumstances, but yet again, another mass school shooting. This is something that we have seen time and time again, something that has played out right before our very eyes. A lot of parents watching now, obviously thinking about their children in school. What's the typical procedure when, let's say, law enforcement gets a 911 call stating that, hey, we got an active shooter?
Well, it used to be that the police would respond to the scene of the shooting, and they cordon off the area, they try to negotiate, they try to talk. Now what they do is they respond to the scene, and they immediately enter the building and try to make contact with the shooter. Research has found the sooner an active shooter is confronted by an armed law enforcement presence, the sooner the shooting of innocent victims ends. So the officers who respond to the scene, they're just going to be taking very brave actions and running into that school and scouring the hallways for the shooter.
Yeah, Dean, I'm sitting here, or standing here rather, thinking about if only to be a fly on the wall when something like that takes place. Actually, somewhat traumatic, I would assume, for not only the students, the teachers, and parents that are at home. Can you talk about the procedure, if you will, the security measures that teachers and or schools have actually implemented to make sure that students stay safe once something like this happens?
Sure. Most school districts around the country, they have active shooter drills every year. Just like in our generation, we had bomb air raid drills where we go into the hallway and we practice covering our necks and go under desks. They're doing active shooter drills. And there's a lot of different ideologies on what the best actions for students are during an active shooter situation. The first is going to be to evacuate. If the students have a safe way to evacuate the school in the opposite direction of where the attack is coming from, that's the preferred behavior for the students. And these students will have pre-planned meeting areas so they can be accounted for. If not, shelter in place is the second thing we want the kids to do, which is lock the door, barricade the classroom door with desks. And the final thing is to fight. You know, if the gunman enters their classroom, don't cower in the corner, pick up items, throw them.
All right. Once again, Dean Golomis joining us earlier with regard to the school shooting taking place in Winder, Georgia. We are now going to take you live to the White House for the latest White House press briefing where they will address this latest shooting.
It's supposed to be an exciting day for students and parents, but instead, we're seeing yet another horrific shooting. Now, as a parent myself, I know the anxiety that comes with sending your kid out into the world every day, living with the real fear of the worst can happen. So please know that our hearts are with those families in Winder, Georgia, who are forced to face this act of senseless violence. I want to let you know that the President and the Vice President have both been briefed, and his administration will continue coordinating with federal, state, and local officials as we receive more information. We're grateful for the brave first responders who are on the scene, and we stand by, we stand ready to provide support as needed. As the President has said time and time again, this is not normal. This is not normal. Students and teachers deserve to know that their schools are safe. They should focus on learning, not lockdowns. While the President and Vice President have taken historic action to reduce gun violence, more must be done to keep our schools and communities safe. We continue to call on Congress to do something, We need universal background checks. We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. require safe storage of firearms, invest in violence prevention programs, and pass a national red flag law. Enough is enough. And I cannot say this enough, which is enough is enough. We cannot allow this to happen in our communities. We cannot allow this to happen in our schools. So we have to do everything that we can to keep our children safe, to keep the people who are supposed to protect our children, where our children, who are they supposed to learn from, safe. And enough is enough. Congress needs to act. Now, turning to my colleague from NSC, who's here to discuss the latest Biden-Harris administration actions today against foreign actors attempting to covertly influence our elections and undermine confidence in our democratic institution. Admiral John Kirby will discuss the coordinated actions we are taking in addition to other foreign policy news of the day. Admiral?
All right. The White House press secretary actually stating that, according to the president and vice president, quote, "This is not normal." She then going on to state that they have continuously called upon Congress to do something. And as she also stated, that she's calling upon Congress, or the president rather, to pass a natural red flag law. One of the many things that are coming out of the White House at this very moment. We can also tell you we have been updated with regard to the casualties and or those who have suffered an injury as a result of this mass school shooting. At least 4 people dead, 9 taken to the hospital. We're going to continue to monitor this developing story throughout the afternoon right here on the Live Zone.